India has distanced itself from former Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's planned press conference.
India's foreign ministry says the event is being organized by a private media entity and has no government backing. Hasina is due to speak by video link later today at an event hosted by the Foreign Correspondents Club of South Asia in New Delhi. The Hiashi's been living in self-imposed exile in India since student-led protests toppled her government in August 2024.
Dhaka has asked New Delhi to clarify its position, warning that allowing political activities by Hasina and other leaders of her Awami League party could affect bilateral relations. Well, Michael Kugelman is Senior Fellow for South Asia at the Atlantic Council, and he joins us once again on the show. Michael, good to have you back. Good to see you. So for 8 months now, India's External Affairs Ministry, has been saying Bangladesh's extradition request for Hasina is under examination. And now we hear that this is going to happen. So I'm confused. What message exactly, is New Delhi trying to send to Dhaka by allowing this public appearance?
Well, it's a fair point. And India's government has gone out of its way to say that it had nothing to do with this upcoming speech. It's not endorsing it. It's completely being done by a private entity. But it's very clear that given technology and how it works these days, it would be quite possible for India to essentially make it not possible for Hasina's virtual speech to be aired. So I think this is India playing it safe, trying to strike a balance. India has a very close relationship with Sheikh Hasina. Not just India's government, but India's broader political class has a long-standing friendship with Hasina and her family. So I think that India's government would not be comfortable essentially pressuring, much less forcing Hasina not to make this virtual speech. But at the same time, it's very clear that since Bangladesh's election earlier this year, India has wanted to try to patch up ties with Bangladesh, which have not been good since Hasina fled the country. And I think that's why India is doing everything possible to try to distance itself from this speech and to make very clear that it has nothing to do with it.
So, like you said, Michael, India says that this is not a government-sponsored event, but I wonder from Bangladesh's perspective, how convincing is that distinction, and what sort of impact could Hasina's appearance could have on India-Bangladesh relations going forward?
Yeah, I mean, from Bangladesh's perspective, it will not be a very convincing distinction. I mean, for the reasons that I mentioned, that India's government would have the capacity, in principle, to use technology that makes it impossible for Hasina's speech to be heard. The other thing is that Hasina's party, the Awami League, has been banned from political activities. This was a move made by the previous Bangladesh government to ban her party. So that essentially means, from Bangladesh's perspective, that by giving this virtual speech, India's government, even if indirectly, is providing a platform for an illegal entity to make political statements. The mere fact that she'll be able to be heard publicly is something that Bangladesh simply will not support and will not want to stand for. And this is why Bangladesh's government has sought to get more clarification as to what exactly India's stance is on this issue.
Michael, Tariq Rahman may attend a BRICS summit next month, not confirmed yet. But going back to your point about, how both sides have been signaling, a desire to rebuild ties, I'm wondering whether or not this would, make it difficult for the Prime Minister to justify going for the summit.
Well, I think that the new government in Bangladesh, the new Prime Minister, Tariq Rahman, is in a bit of a tough spot. And his government is going to have to be very cautious about how it goes about this relationship with India. And that's the case regardless of whether Hasina was going to make this speech in India or not. First of all, there is very strong sentiment that is hostile to Hasina inside Bangladesh, certainly in terms of much of the public, as well as two of the key opposition parties, the Jamaat-e-Islami party, as well as a newer party, the NCP, which is made up of leaders of the protests that ousted Sheikh Hasina in 2024. So Tariq Rahman knows that he has to be very careful about signaling any type of intent to reach out to India. So But at the same time, yeah, I think that this new government in Bangladesh has signaled that it wants to try to do what it can to make the relationship more stable and more manageable. India is a key partner of Bangladesh historically. It's been a pretty significant source of economic assistance, among other things. So I think that Rahman will have to be very cautious about how he goes about trying to repair this relationship. But indeed, given how the public will likely react in Bangladesh, assuming the speech goes forward, and I suspect it will, he's really going to have to be very careful. Just because for so many people in Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina is a radioactive figure. There was one time some months ago when a speech of hers went online, was broadcast from India, and there were riots in some parts of Dhaka, including attacks on one of her family's homes in Bangladesh. So it's a very sensitive, volatile situation for Bangladesh's government.
Yeah, so turning now to Hasina herself, Michael, what is your read on the timing of her appearance? I mean, what sort of message is she trying to send to her supporters as well as Bangladesh's current leadership?
Well, I mean, Wednesday marks exactly 2 years to the day that Sheikh Hasina fled Bangladesh to India. So there's something very symbolic about that, for sure. It's like she wants to bring attention back to the fact that she left. And not too long ago, Sheikh Hasina, in a media interview, had said that she intends to return to Bangladesh this coming December. She didn't give many specifics about it. She said she's going to return in December and voluntarily turn herself into the courts. Now, keeping in mind that Sheikh Hasina faces a death sentence back in Bangladesh. Back in November, she was sentenced to death in absentia for crimes against humanity tied to what her security forces did to crack down against the protesters in 2024, which, according to the UN, killed as many as 1,400 people. But it's very unclear why she would want to go back to Bangladesh, given that she would almost surely be arrested and could be jailed. But I suspect that her speech will shed more light on that. I suspect that she'll probably reiterate her intention to go back to Bangladesh. But I think we have to keep in mind that 2 year mark. The fact that it's been exactly 2 years since she left the country. I think that in that sense, it's just from a symbolic perspective, it's a very powerful moment for her to make this speech.
Okay, I hear you, Michael. Dhaka, meantime, has called her a spent force with no influence. I mean, would it be fair to say that this cannot be true, given that the Awami League is still banned and given, I guess, the protests or the clarification that Bangladesh has been seeking about this press conference?
Well, I mean, the interim government had cracked down very hard against the Awami League, her party, and including banning the party from political activities. So, what had been left of the party has basically been decimated for now. I'd argue the party also lost a lot of support when Hasina security forces used such force, deadly force, against protesters 2 years ago. But this is this is one of Bangladesh's main political parties. It's the party associated with Bangladesh's independence. Hasina's father was Bangladesh's independence hero and its first post-independence leader. It's a dynastic political party, and at least in a South Asia context, dynastic parties, they don't really go away. So I don't think that Hasina has any immediate term political future, but I think there's something to be said for the longevity of this party. If it manages to stick around, keep a low profile for some years, it might be able to come back. But yeah, I would argue, given current conditions in Bangladesh, there's not much that she or her party could do, particularly because if she does return in December, I suspect that she'll be arrested and jailed.
All right, Michael, thank you very much for joining us. Michael Kugelman, Senior Fellow for South Asia at the Atlantic Council.